It's time for the Ron and Brian Podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
And good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock, and it is time for episode 283 of the Ron and Brian Podcast. Brian, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing splendid. It is Sunday night. It is a cool December evening, unnaturally balmy,
Unseasonably warm.
unseasonably warm, but at the same time, I'm going to say, much like my heart, it's still cold outside.
There you go. Nice.
How are you doing? You know, every week we come in here, we
Correct.
play this incredible intro music that we have.
We
Every week you introduce me, you ask how I am doing, and every week I fail to be the friend that you deserve by regrettably not asking you how you're doing. And that is, I would like to take a time out on the show. I know you want to
something
go
I've
to
noticed.
I know you want to go to Beef of the Week. I know you want to
Sure.
go to Drink of the Week. I know you
Sure.
want to go to Story of the Week.
Right.
How are you doing, Ron?
Today, you know, I'm a little achy. I'm a little sore. I got my COVID vaccine yesterday, Moderna,
You got
the gold standard.
gold standard.
I got Spikevax, so I'm feeling
Question.
it. Yeah,
Spikevax. Is that one shot or is that two shots at the same time?
that is one shot, and it is. It's definitely got some more side effects than the regular. I mean, you're aware. If I'm correct, last week you had your, I believe, 37th COVID vaccine shot of 2023.
Sure. Yes. This year I specifically said nothing but Johnson & Johnson every week.
Right. So
standard.
I will say my joints aching, the shot location in my arm painful. Fatigue set in. My wife asleep, feverish, and dizzy because she always has a very negative response to the COVID vaccine. And then she also got her flu shot yesterday.
My question for you, Ron, is now you've told me that the previous time vaccines you've gotten, you've specifically had them injected right into your scrotum. Why this time would you go for the arm?
New pharmacist at my local Walgreens. She said she had never heard of that before. Agree to disagree, I guess. So I said, all right, well, we'll do the arm this time. You're the boss. We'll do the arm.
Because I remember Friday night reaching out to you asking what you were doing. You were like, oh, just, home shaving my balls, just shaving my balls.
I mean, there's nothing quite like a shorn scrotum. It really is, ridiculously nice.
It's wonderful. Why are these lights flickering?
If the weather there is anything like it is here, it's pretty nasty out.
It is. It's a lot of weird things are happening. My lights just went out.
Well, let's
talk amongst yourselves. I'm still here. For those people who are listening, on the audio front, you won't know what's going on right now. People on video will be seeing some things.
There you go. Let's get it rolling then. Let's get into it with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the Week.
Friendship.
Prost.
Drink of the Week. Drink of the Week. Drink of the Week. Drink of the Week.
Brian, what are you drinking this week?
Last week, I specialized for my drink of the week in a beer by Brewdog Brewery from the good old United Kingdom. I did not enjoy that.
No, I remember you were not a fan.
And I did not pull any punches. I said, listen, people, this is not a beer for me. The good people over at Brewdog reached out and said, listen, please, you may not have been a fan of the beer that we gave you last week, but you will be a fan of this one. So I can always be succumbed by free beer. Brewdog reached out. They sent me a 6-pack of their Elvis juice. It's a lot better than the Michael Jackson juice, if you know what I'm getting at. Ron, this is Brewdog's Elvis juice. Take a look at that beautiful color. And what is Elvis juice, you may ask? It's a grapefruit infused IPA. An American IPA with a bitter edge that will push your citrus tolerance to the brink and back. Elvis juice is loaded with tart, pithy. You know me, I'm down for anything pithy. Grapefruit.
You are.
This IPA has a caramel malt base supporting a full frontal citrus overload. Grapefruit piled on top of intense aroma hops. Waves of crashing pine, orange, and grapefruit round out this citrus-infused IPA, coming in at a 6.5 APV and coming out tomorrow in the form of just smelly farts. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Brewdog's Elvis juice.
I mean, let's see. I hope it's better than last week's offering from Brewdog. You seem, it's a quizzical look on your face. You're going in for a second sip. I don't know if that's a good or bad quizzical look. What's the verdict?
Solid 6.5.
All right.
I'm going to say this. It's still an IPA, people. They should have known that this was going to be my thing. I will say the citrus flavor, the grapefruit infusion here really overlaps what normally would be the bitter tasting hops that you get. There is a somewhat scummy aftertaste floating in the back of my throat, unlike that summer that I was working in a bar in Chelsea. I'm going to say, would I order and buy this beer? No, but if somebody gave it to me, would I drink it? Absolutely. So I will drink this. I will drink the other one that's in my beer fridge right now, but I'm not going to be bragging about it tomorrow at the water cooler. Ron.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes, my friend.
What are you drinking?
And we don't talk about this beforehand. I also have an Elvis themed beer this week, one that I had on the show a while back. I forget when I did this. This is Straight to Ale Brewing out of Huntsville, Alabama. This is their Velvet Evil Old Ale. I'm trying to think what the heck this is. It is, it is an old ale brewed with chocolate, raspberries, and coffee. So it's an interesting mix. I mean, it's got a very distinct color to it. Very dark.
That beer is the color of my scrotum when I got my 32nd COVID shot in the scrotum. That was the color when I woke up the next day. Ron, how's the beer?
It's not bad. It's a lot smoother than I would have anticipated. It's what is the alcohol content on this? I did not really research this well enough. Clearly, is there a percentage on here? Let me look here.
There always is. What? I'll look it up. What is the name of the beer?
Straight to Ale Velvet Evil. Again, I'm getting the coffee. I'm getting a little bit of the raspberries. I'm not getting the chocolate, but it's a very good beer. Oh boy, that face means I think I'm up in like double digits. What is this cranking in at?
We're talking 11.5 ABV, baby.
Yeah. Oh, it's a party now, bitches.
Put it
And
down.
Dom's in the house. Dominic Colella in the house. Hello to you, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight. So I might even go grab a second one of those from the beverage fridge. Brian, I don't think I updated you. We have replaced the wine fridge with an official beverage fridge, so I don't have to go all the way down to the basement for my beer.
But now I get it. So you took out the wine fridge that was in the kitchen. You've replaced it with a regular beverage fridge. So now you put your beers there. Now, question is, of that refrigerator space, how much has your wife already claimed for her spiked seltzers?
None really. Ironically enough, and this is the genius of the design, it really only handles conveniently 12-ounce cans. So the seltzer cans don't really fit in the shelves.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you could lay them down, but that just doesn't add to the aesthetic of the lineup of the shelving.
The one thing that Mrs. Ron is not known for is lying down. So she will never lie down.
Anyway, it's time for Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
Brian, what's bothering you this week?
Okay. This may sound petty, but it's a real beef.
Okay.
New York City traffic. As many loyal fans of the show know, I recently, a lifelong New York City resident, was forced to flee as my beloved city was crumbling in almost every direction as the woke prosecutors took over. Criminals running the streets. Now they've got this thing called congestion pricing where they're charging people.
I saw that.
They are charging cars upwards of $30+ just to drive in Midtown Manhattan. But my complaint is weekend holiday traffic. Yesterday, a friend to the show, William Esquire, picked me up to go to an afternoon concert. And it was supposed to take about 45 minutes from my door to the music venue in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Here, Dom's already like, I will not drive in Manhattan anymore. Absolutely. This city has gone to shit. However, what I was going to say was this 45-minute drive ballooned to almost an hour and 45 as we were making progress through the great streets of New Jersey, Holland Tunnel, over to the Manhattan Bridge into Brooklyn. What a shit show it was. I give William Esquire credit. But people, there is absolutely no reasons to get in your car, drive into Manhattan for no reason. Stay home, stay local. Just the amount of time wasted by humans in the New York City metropolitan area sitting in traffic is unacceptable across the board. My beef of the week, people getting in their cars on weekends and driving through Manhattan.
But you got in a car and drove through Manhattan.
I had to. There was no reason for these people to. They could have stayed home.
I understand. Okay. Fair enough. My apologies.
Ron,
Yes.
what's bothering you?
So my beef of the week this week, Brian, is with the presidents of the University of Pennsylvania, Harvard, and MIT, because it is rare. I think actually this might be the first time that I have ever agreed with Representative Elise Stefanik. I think that's how you pronounce her name. She's the upstate Republican representative, and there was a committee hearing this past week where they were talking about the rise of anti-Semitism and threats to Jewish students on campus.
Yep.
And it was a made-for-TV soundbite question that the representative came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ban people asking for the genocide of Jews on college campuses? And again, you would think this is a relatively easy question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they all kind of dodged it and said, well, it would, depend on the context, everything else. It would seem to me, and very easy to just say, you know what, if anybody is on our campus advocating for the genocide of any race or group, we're not going to allow that. But no, so I had to agree with the representative. Democrats had to agree with her. And the fallout has continued this weekend. UPenn's president, Liz Magill, resigned on Saturday. However, she still will remain a tenured professor at the school. And there is pressure mounting on the presidents of Harvard and MIT to resign as well. But it's when someone horrible makes a good point, it just bugs the hell out of me.
Question, Ron. What was your main problem was that they did not take a stronger stand against the hate world of Hamas and proclaim that anti-Semitism is never okay? Is that the bulk of your issue?
Well, I think the bulk of my issue is the fact that they couldn't come out and say that advocating genocide against any group is wrong.
Sure, which is ironic because in episode 274, when you were doing a solo episode, and tell me if I'm not wrong here, but eagle-eyed fans of the show were very quick to point out that the day after 1,200 Jews in Israel were slaughtered by Hamas, you decided to open up your podcast, the Ron and Brian podcast, by the way, and spend at least 20 minutes devoted to the Speaker of the House removal. I believe that was Joe McCarthy that had been kicked out of his Speaker of the House role. And you devoted only 2 minutes to the Hamas attack on the sovereign state of Israel. I know that there were many Jews who were up in arms over your lack of understanding about the outrage that happens when 1,200 Jews are slaughtered simply for believing in the Jewish faith. I find it quite ironic that less than 10 weeks later, here you are trying to take up the Israeli arms and defend the state of Israel.
I mean, I guess this would be very similar to, I don't know, you defending women.
Wow.
Oh, hey. But Brian, you mentioned
We lift. No. You don't throw that out. We lift and support all women here on the show. That
All
is, I have that as a tattoo on my arm
scrotum?
to always remind me that we lift and support women on this show. We are an ally.
All right. Well, I don't know if you're frozen or I'm frozen. Internet has been insane.
I see you
with
fine.
The weather, so I'm going to wait for a second and see if Brian unfreezes or if I.
Ironically, what Ron doesn't realize is that I've seen him perfectly throughout this whole time. Ron, I believe this is your internet giving you a heads up.
Very well could be.
I heard and saw you perfectly clear the entire time. I don't know, maybe Billy would like to point out that we've had a little too much scrotum talk tonight.
Well, he's not saying there's been too much. He's just saying that there's a lot of it. He hasn't mentioned that it's too much scrotum talk. If he said, hey, guys, tone down the scrotum talk. But anyway, Brian, you mentioned the Speaker of the House, and it was announced this past week that former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, is resigning from Congress and leaving at the end of the year. This was after he took great pains to talk about how, even though he was kicked out of the speaker seat, that he had a lot of work left to be done in Congress and will be staying on through the end of his term. But apparently he decided, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Screw you guys. You know what? Good luck. Take out the Trash. Just garbage.
Brian.
Yeah.
Yes. No, go. What were you going to say?
No. Ron, this is your show. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was thinking we could go to our stories of the week, as we often do each and every week. We find some stories that we want to make sure we grab, that we don't pass up on, that we make sure we get into the episode. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
Oh, my story of the week it's not really anything major. It's just something that made me feel good. Was the story earlier this week about Jamie Spears, Britney's father. She was placed in a conservatorship about 15 years ago, where basically somewhere like 15 years. She was having a little rough time, I'm not going to lie. But basically her father was made conservator of her, so that he was pretty much in charge of all of her finances, what she was allowed to do, who she was allowed to hang out with. Really oversteps his bounds as a parent, and protecting his daughter. And what it really feels like he just kind of used her as a blank check to fund a life of wealth for himself. Look at him there. First off, any grown Louisiana man.
How are you going to afford camouflage pants and a matching camouflage trucker's cap like that if you're not taking money from your daughter?
Correct. Well, we know that this is not a current photo of Jamie Spears, because if anything will teach you people is that karma is a bitch. So you may see Jamie Spears standing tall and proud here, but reality, he is not standing tall anyway. He just had part of his leg amputated for some medical reason. I didn't even read the fucking article because to me, just knowing that he had his leg amputated, he was at a facility for people with infectious diseases after unsuccessful surgeries. He had gone in for a knee replacement, apparently, this article says, and got a terrible infection from it. So, you know what? That's right, Jojo. You may say free Britney. I'm not sure that she's doing all that well, but I'm definitely going to say that, from the news reports that I've been exposed to, this guy deserves to have the other leg amputated also. So fuck Jamie Spears.
Wow. I mean, that seems a bit drastic, but, if you want to go with it, then you go with it, my friend.
Free Britney. Ron.
Yes.
What's your story of the week?
So my story of the week, it's actually a survey that was conducted by the University of Ohio, interviewing shoppers, talking about checkout solicitations. Now, Brian, you're a man of the people. You don't get groceries delivered. You don't get Costco delivered. You don't get your warehouse
Nothing delivered. Right.
You go out amongst the people, and
Sure.
at the end, when you're about ready to check out, they say, "Hey, would you like to round up and donate money to
charity?" Correct.
Whatever the
Correct.
charity is that
Yes.
they are celebrating. So,
Yes.
what they have come to find that this question causes a lot of shopper anxiety. About 40% express negative feelings, such as feeling pressured, annoyed, and concerned about being judged. Another 7% conveyed negative sentiments from a mental standpoint, including feeling guilty or bad. About a third were neutral, saying they were indifferent, and then about 20% describe positive feelings such as nice or compassionate. What do you do when that pops up on your screen at the end of your transaction?
I look for the red button that says no, comma, thanks. And I jab that a few times to make sure that it registers. Then I take my credit card out and I slide it into the reader, and then I wait for it to say authorizing, processing, and then it says, please remove card. Card out. I take my groceries and I leave. I do not do, I feel that first off, I don't believe that a donation to a supermarket, for instance, or a wall or a pharmacy or whatnot, I'm not sure why they are going to get the tax savings of my donation. They're going to charge me for it, collect those monies, then they're going to be making the donation in their name, and they're going to get the tax benefits of it. Second of all is, if you take a Costco or a Dwayne Reed, a Walgreens, a CVS, these are multi-billion-dollar corporations. They should be affording this a charitable donation and should not be looking to the average consumer who is being raked over the coals with inflation. Excuse me, Bidenomics or Bidenomics, is that the term?
Bidenomics, right?
Bidenomics, getting raked over the coals over Bidenomics. They should not be asking these people to pay even more money for the betterment of society. I think we need to tax corporations properly, tax the billionaires, so that the burden is not on Joe Q public to make sure that the even more unfortunate and those requiring the most amount of help should be provided for.
I am 100% in agreement with you. I stopped doing it just because, again, to your point, why does Walmart need that tax donation?
Correct.
Listen, I'm going to claim that tax donation on my my income tax every year, whether I make it or not. But if I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it direct to the charities that I want to support.
That's actually, I'm not sure. Did you just admit to tax fraud?
No, nothing like that. And again, to your point, also with Sleepy Joe and the cost of groceries these days, it's just, how much blueberries are, Brian?
I'm going to say $6.99. $6.99. I'm going to go with.
I've seen them as high as $11.99 in some locations.
Let me guess. You're the kind of guy who opens up the bushel and picks at it as you walk throughout the store, and by the time you get to the cash register, I'm sorry, I forgot. You don't actually go to the supermarket anymore. You actually just have your groceries delivered. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I went to the grocery store today, Brian, because Walmart was out of vegetable stock and I needed to make soup today. So I actually had to go to the grocery store and go inside of the store. Yes.
What kind of soup are we making tonight?
I made butternut squash soup.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then I baked a little bread to go on the side with it.
Wow, you're going to make some woman one day a very happy spouse.
Speaking of blueberries, can I tell you, and again, this was from another delivery service, so I probably shouldn't even mention it. But do you know what I had for the first time this past week, Brian? I had
Blueberry muffin.
I had dried blueberries.
Dried blueberries.
So they are it's basically like raisins, only a little bit sweeter.
Sure.
Highly recommend. Yeah.
Where did you have them?
So there's another service called The Rounds that we have in Philadelphia and the suburbs, and you can order products. They
Sure.
send them to you in returnable containers and whatnot. So I got it from them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like the
It's an excellent point, Brian. You're always talking about John Q. Public. You don't care about Jill Q. Public. And that is just one of the many topics I will be talking about when I debate Brian the week before our Super Bowl bet. Yes, that first Sunday in February.
Never
I hope
forget.
Brian
Never
is
forget.
ready for that. Brian, speaking of strong, powerful women, you couldn't turn anywhere this past week without hearing that Taylor Swift was Time Magazine's Person of the Year. I know, you were outraged, Brian. You had been stumping heavy for Elon Musk to win that honor, but instead it did go to Taylor Swift. Your thoughts on it?
My only problem with it being Taylor Swift was that I feel like there was some racism in this. I actually felt that it should have been Taylor Swift and Beyonce as the people of the year. I don't believe that Taylor Swift single-handedly saved the American economy. I believe that it was the combo, the 1-2 punch of Taylor Swift and Beyonce touring America in football stadiums, packing them night in, night out. If you go back about 8 months, 9 months, all economists in this country, yes, that's right, I say Beyonce. Why? Because I live so close to Bayonne. Seriously, though, but if you go back about 8, 9 months, you are going to see a lot of reports in the financial sections of the websites that you look at. Except you, Ron. I know you have yet to find a finance section on xnxx.com. Anyway, but to make a long story short, it was these two women that sat there and said, yes, the U.S. economy is looking at rampant inflation. Yes, we will charge a healthy price for our tickets. But the number of people that will be employed, the amount of money that is going to be infused into local economies, we are going to single-handedly stop this country from facing a recession. And if you look at what happened this summer, Beyonce would come to town, Taylor Swift would come to town, everybody would be happy. So I believe that it is, I'm not going to say that Beyonce should have won this by herself. Right. But I believe the two of them should have shared it. Certainly not Taylor Swift and her cat. I don't know what the fuck the cat did to be labeled Person of the Year. Cat did shit. Literally pooped in a box and sprayed some kitty litter all over the floor. Taylor Swift, I think, utterly incredible what she's done with her career and the effect that she has had and the influence and the role model that she has been. I take nothing away from what she has accomplished, but I do believe that Beyonce Knowles also had every right to be on that page just as much as that cat.
Well, to your point, Brian, I believe Bloomberg Economics estimated that those combined tours added an estimated $5.4 billion to the U.S. gross domestic product. Although Taylor's tour was a bigger tour, hers brought in $305 million. Compared to Beyonce's $150 million, nothing to sneeze at.
That's because America's racist. That's because America is racist. I mean, you get out of the coasts and and the South, and you are not going to find. I imagine Beyonce's not filling a football stadium in Nebraska, in Idaho. Those people love Taylor Swift. They think she represents the red, white, and blue.
I think part of it also may have something to do with the number of shows. Taylor Swift did 10 more shows, and as you mentioned, was in some larger venues. But I believe what also got her the nod for Person of the Year was the fact that she gave bonuses to her touring company, to all the employees on her tour, bonuses totaling $55 million in total. And every stop on her tour, she donated money to local food banks. I believe in California, enough money to provide 500,000 meals for the homeless and food challenged out there. So, and I mean, her and Travis Kelce make a cute couple. I mean, you can't lie, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. First off, just to imply that Beyonce and Jay-Z don't make a cute couple, racist on your part. Second of all and not just to hype up the Bayhive like I do, but I mean, to imply that Beyonce was not also helping local charities is just blasphemous. I just don't believe that she felt the need to send out a press memo when she was giving out bonuses to the employees on her tour. I'm not saying that Taylor Swift's out there making sure that every good deed goes noticed by the media, but it is possible to do a charitable deed without making sure that your PR machine has not spread the word mightily throughout the American zeitgeist.
All right. Once again, Brian, comfortable criticizing women and how they live their lives. Next up, everybody, it is time for our NFL Locks of the Week.
Locks.
Brian, well, first off, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This was the week I thought you might be done for, that your streak might be over. That Minnesota Vikings, Las Vegas Raiders game, which may have been one of the most horrible football games of the season. Yep. You had Minnesota -1, a scoreless game up until the very last play, where the Vikings kicked a field goal to win 3-0, bringing home the victory for you and them. And then you looked at those Houston Texans -4.5 against the New York Jets. You say, you know what? You can't go wrong betting against the New York Jets, except this week when you put your money Jets +4.5. They did not need any of those points. It was a blowout. Jets win 30-6. How do you do it?
Listen, to me, I just pick the games. But I mean, most importantly is the fact that no point am I looking behind myself to see you. I'm looking right next to me. You're my partner, man. And this is beautiful because you also went 2-0 this week. On more impressively than I think what I do, you picked two underdogs. Jaguars were laying 3 against the Browns. You sat there and said Cleveland is not done. There's still life in those old bones. The dog pound, 31-27 victory, wins the game outright. Also, Detroit -5 over the Bears. You said, listen, Mike Ditka may not be alive anymore, but I'm going Bears. Bears win 28-13. You, sir, are now 28-0 for the season. How do you do it?
You know what? You push me to be better each and every week. You push me to be a better person. You push me to be a better podcaster, and you push me to be a better prognosticator. And that's what I try and do.
It's a wonderful thing. What do you have lined up for a week 15 of this NFL season?
Next weekend, it's the Battle of the Bays. I like Green Bay -3.5 against Tampa Bay. And then New York Jets, coming off the bye week, will probably still suck. New Orleans -6 versus those New York Giants. Don't get me wrong, I love Tommy Cutlets, but I don't see them winning that game.
No, I don't know.
Brian, who you got this week?
Oh, this coming week, I've got the Falcons -2.5 over the Panthers. Carolina, terrible this season. Also, like the Chiefs, -10. Chiefs are not known for covering spreads, but Chiefs -10 over the Patriots.
All right, Chiefs with the tough loss earlier today against the Buffalo Bills. So it's a
They have
ballsy
had
pick.
they've had a couple losses. This is their second loss in a row. They are now 8-5. This is not an elite team anymore, but I still believe in them.
All right, sounds good. We were talking about Joe Biden earlier, but really we should be talking about Hunter Biden. A report came out this past week alleging that he spent hundreds of thousands on constant partying. This is according to prosecutors in an indictment that was filed against Hunter this past week with a total of 9 tax charges. The indictment brought in California alleges Biden spent money on prostitution, online pornography, and hiring luxury cars, among other things, including $10,000 on a sex club membership. Altogether, allegedly spending $872,000 on hookers, porn, and sex club memberships, while evading taxes somewhere in the ballpark of $1.4 million. Biden faces 17 years behind bars. Makes that $900 you dropped at a strip club seem like pennies in a well.
Chump change. What are your thoughts about Hunter Biden and the Republican obsession with him? What do you think? What do you make of it?
Well, I mean, there is an obsession because, obviously you've got a lot of indictments going against Trump, and you've got the son of the current sitting president that clearly did a ton of very sketchy shit between 2016 and 2019 when he was hooked on alcohol and crack cocaine. So I think, I think these need to be investigated, and, if found guilty, he needs to do jail time. No one is above the law, Brian.
Agreed. I was going to say something similar, which is just the fact of it does certainly sound like you had the son of a politician who is going out of his way to fund a lifestyle that was unworthy of their own personal efforts, so much as their proximity to a power maker. Unfortunately, it feels, and this is with a jump, I mean, let's not age ourselves, but we all remember Billy Carter, the lovable of Jimmy Carter. He was doing some shady shit just like Hunter Biden did, from what it sounds like, but there was never the level of loss of civility where it was, well, we need to impeach Jimmy Carter because his brother is slime. I think it's very easy to say that Hunter Biden was not necessarily a law-abiding citizen for the longest time. Sounds like he has started to turn his life around, fortunately, depending on how you look at it. But it's certainly, I don't see or have not seen anything credible, in my opinion, that warrants impeaching Joe Biden because his son was a fraud.
Right. And a lot of this took place prior to, Joe Biden being in office. But I mean, if this is true, this is, these are clearly broke the law. What apparently he did was claiming a number of luxuries as simple business deductions. For example, he claimed, quote, legal, professional, and consulting, which that was actually payment of his daughter's law school tuition. Travel, transportation, and other was instead used for house rentals for his then girlfriend, as well as rent for one of his daughters, per the indictment. So listen to some of these alleged payments broken out in the indictment. Various women, $683,212.
Just money he gave women? Whoa. That's money he gave women.
To various women, correct. But claimed as a business expense.
Of course.
Clothing and accessories, almost $398,000. What else? Groceries and restaurants, $215,000. Adult entertainment, $189,000. Son of a bitch even wrote off rehab for $72,000. Altogether, the payments in the indictment amounted to $4.9 million. And that's the bigger problem, again, with politics in general. What the fuck was Hunter Biden doing where he had $4.9 million of disposable income?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he was getting it from Ukrainian companies, wasn't he?
Right. I believe so. Like, and again, there is no doubt that Hunter Biden was cashing in on his father's connections to make money.
Sure.
But also
course.
to your point, I don't know that Joe is necessarily involved. I don't think Joe necessarily really pays attention to what goes on around him.
But how is what Hunter Biden did any differently than what Ivanka Trump has done over the past 6 years? Or her husband, Jared Kushner, taking $1 billion the day he walks out of the White House.
Sure.
I mean, you're looking at Eric and Donald Trump certainly profiting from their father while he was president. To sit there and say that family members of famous politicians are not supposed to have any success off the proximity to the seat of power certainly should not be true if you are a Democrat, and not true if you are a Republican.
No, I agree with you. I think there needs to be, there needs to be better standards and better ethics held into place for family members, as well as those sitting in these seats of power.
Sure. That's the part where we've lost that civility in politics, where it is, it's by any means necessary will I take you down. And I certainly don't believe that I don't want to live in a bloodthirsty, cutthroat world like that.
No. Another politician feeling the heat this week, Representative Nancy Mace. A report came out this week claiming that she talked about her sex life in front of junior staffers in her Capitol office while dating her now ex-fiance. A former senior staffer for the South Carolina Republican told the Daily Mail, quote, she frequently made sexual references in the office and discussed things that were not appropriate in a work environment. If she was in fact doing this, she could face a House Ethics Committee investigation if one of her aides were to file a complaint with the panel. She's already embroiled in a messy legal dispute with her ex, Charleston entrepreneur Patrick Bryant, over a pair of multi-million-dollar homes the former couple purchased together. They ended up breaking up because she allegedly found her fiance on a dating app.
I was going to say, she looks like a woman who's had her heart broken. Now I understand why. So she is buying real estate with her boyfriend, and he is trying to date other women. That
is apparently what allegedly happened. But before that, she made a number of comments in the office. In July of 2021, she suggested that she was nearly late to former GOP presidential candidate Tim Scott's prayer breakfast because her fiance wanted to get intimate. Quote, when I woke up this morning at 7, I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast, and I got to be on time. Mace apparently told a room full of Christians at the event. I know he can wait. I'll see him later tonight, she added.
Nope. Don't need to know this. Don't. Do not. Don't care. One thing I will say is that I don't think I've ever had an a truly uncomfortable boss or an uncomfortable situation. I could not imagine if my boss dealt like this. If I was forced to have to listen to my boss talking like this.
There's a level of creepiness there and especially someone in a position of power. I mean, I'm sure these staffers. All right, hold on. Let's see what Allie has here. Allie says, I dislike her very much. However, would anything she said be an ethics violation if a male representative said it? I mean, in theory, yes. In practice, probably not.
Sure. Probably not. Yeah, I hear you. They wouldn't be held accountable. We know that.
Right. I mean, Brian would give him a pass. I think, he's shown that. Am I being too hard on you, Brian? Am I being too hard on you lately?
I believe that what you are doing is you are trying to paint the public narrative of me as not a supporter of women because you feel that by default it makes you look better. But I think that at the end of the day, when the lights dim inside of us and we close our eyes for the last time, wake up in front of the pearly gates of heaven, and we've got Saint Joseph sitting there with his book wide open, looking at the history of your life. I think when he looks down on you, Ron, I don't believe that he will judge you as an ally to women. I mean, you've been divorced, so right off the bat, you have broken a woman's heart. Right off the bat, you cannot be an ally to women. Those kind of personal barbs are the kind of things that you can look forward to in our 27th annual presidential debate the week before the Super Bowl, where Ron will put forth why he deserves to be the next championship of the podcast, why I will be stepping up and really talking about the accomplishments that I have had over the past year, making this world a better place for you and me.
Aren't you?
Thank you, Ali. Look,
aren't you
Ali agrees.
Twice?
Ali agrees with me. Yeah, because she knows that I am correct. Even Joe is sitting there saying, yes, she is supportive of me. Janelle agrees exactly. It's just a magic time. Even Billy's saying, you just got choppy. He just, we know that choppy is street lingo for dead fucking wrong.
All right. Well, back to the news then, if you will. Going on to the state of Texas, where a woman by the name of Kate Cox has been fighting the Texas abortion bill. Ms. Cox, a 31-year-old mother of two from the Dallas area, is currently, I want to say she is roughly 20 weeks pregnant at this time. She has been told by doctors that her baby is likely to be stillborn or live for a week at most. But doctors have told her that their hands are tied. They can't do anything for her under Texas's abortion ban. She went to court over it on Thursday. A Texas judge enacted a restraining order against the law that would have allowed her to have the abortion. However, the Texas Supreme Court has overruled that. So it has been put on hold. Hopefully they will expedite the case. Obviously, the longer they drag this out, the greater the opportunity she will, or let's say the less opportunity she will have to have this abortion prior to her due date. She has had cesarean sections with her previous pregnancy. She learned that she was pregnant for a third time in August and was told weeks later that her baby was at a high risk for a condition known as trisomy 18, which has a very high likelihood of miscarriage or stillbirth. If the baby's heartbeat were to stop, inducing labor would carry a risk of a uterine rupture. It could also endanger, as Ali said, she could become infertile and that her life could be in jeopardy because she would like to have more kids. The
Republicans don't care about her life. The Republicans, right. The so-called moral majority do not care about the living. They care about the pretense of the unborn child, and they certainly do not care about the welfare of women throughout this country. Ron, I'm going to let you take lead on this simply because I know you will stumble and fail in your ability to truly, I know what you're going to do. You're going to mansplain why this is bad. and nobody wants your mansplaining. This isn't a time for a white male from the suburbs to sit there and tell everybody why women's health is important. You need to step back, stand down, and listen, my friend.
All right. Who do you want me to listen to?
I think you should listen to women. I think you should ask your wife. I think you should ask your wife, who's not even allowed in her own kitchen, from what you've told me in the past. Ask her. How does she feel as a woman in America? and the healthcare system and how it speaks to her needs, not yours, not what you want for women, but what women need. Women require what they want, what they deserve.
All right, you good?
All good.
So we moving on to one of our more popular bits in the show, but the drag queens are the problem. It never fails, Brian. It never fails that we manage to find some stories for this, and I hope that we can at least find a drag queen this week. And nope. This is it's a bus driver, Brian. In fact, it is a Long Island school bus driver, Giovanni Campos. He has been indicted for allegedly kidnapping and raping a 15-year-old student several times this year, both at his Queens apartment and in the bus itself. He has pled not guilty to second-degree kidnapping, third-degree rape, 2 counts of third-degree criminal sex act, and reckless endangerment. He allegedly assaulted the Valley Stream student repeatedly from January to July, and he was arrested back in September. Let's see. His bail was set at $150,000 cash, $300,000 bond, and $1.25 million partially secured bond. If convicted, he could face 25 years behind bars. He is due back in court on Tuesday. So, Brian.
So you're telling me that bus drivers are the problem?
Well, in this particular case, the bus driver was the problem. We do have one more story. I don't believe it's a bus driver, so maybe this.
But it's a drag queen. It's got to be a drag queen.
No,
drag queen?
This is a youth pastor from New Hampshire. This is Jarrett Booker, age 37. He had served as the pastor of worship and youth ministry at Nashua Baptist Church for nearly a decade when alleged victims started to come forward last month. But you know what he did, Brian? And we have to applaud him for this. He killed himself just 2 days after he was fired from his church over, quote, credible allegations that he was sexually assaulting children.
Hey, at least he did us all a favor.
He did. Brian, stop playing with the pictures. I'm gonna turn
No,
your
I'm not playing with the picture. Ron, I was not going to bring it to attention, but the picture is not showing up. Ron, the picture is not showing up. So all we're seeing is a large black screen on our end.
Interesting. We got to complain.
Look, Janelle says, Ron, fix your shit. Allie says, Matt is failing us. Janelle says, where's the picture? And I say, Guy Bannister says, Ron, internet, fucking up.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's a router issue. Maybe it's a modem issue. Maybe it's the weather, Brian. I have no answers for you.
Well,
can you see the?
You would have to tell me.
Does the banner come up at least? Can you see the banner when I pop it up there?
Yes, the banner shows up. The banner shows up. Oh, here. This is, I that's all we can really hope for is the bare minimum from Matt, with the raging cocaine problem.
Well, it's very true. It's very, very true. What else do we have? Brian, I want you to pick a story this week.
Why?
I mean, I feel like you should be participating.
You don't think that I participate?
I mean, you have your moments.
I fucking run this show. I think the one story that you have not really gotten to that I think is super important is I believe we need to be talking about what took place in the sex shop in Oklahoma.
All right.
You have that story or no?
Where is it? I'm looking at it here.
Fucking idiot. Oh my God. See, this is why you belong in the 49% category. Let's go all the way out to Oklahoma. Technically the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office, where recently there was an altercation at Christie's Toy Box, which is an adult toy store. Do we have a photo or are you pulling it up?
I can't seem to get the photos working. So you just imagine what this person would look like.
All right, Ron. Well, you try and fool that around. I'm going to let you know. An Oklahoma sheriff's commander, apparently that's like a police officer out there. We don't know what the fuck Oklahoma's doing when it comes to giving titles out to their peace officers. Well, the police officer has been charged with beating up a sex shop worker in a rage over his female partner, not police partner, but relationship partner, wanting to buy a toy penis larger than his own manhood. Apparently, inside Christie's toy box, this police officer, off duty, of course, goes in with his female relationship partner to purchase sex toys for their mutual pleasure. Apparently, every time she pointed out a desired object in the store, the police officer got angry and said she did not need a fake penis that struck her fancy because it was quote unquote larger than his, the clerk reportedly told police officers. The worker intervened when he saw David DeWitt, who was the off-duty police officer with his girlfriend, raising his hands as if he was about to backhand the woman, and asked him to calm down and leave the store. DeWitt said, "F you, I'm a cop." At which point, when the couple brought some merchandise to the counter, the clerk asked DeWitt if he would like to buy some batteries for the adult toy, at which point DeWitt said, "What the F you say to me, fat boy?" Now, we do not have any photographs of the sex toy store clerk, so we do not know if fat boy was a slur against overweight persons. After the worker replied, "Dude, please get out of my face," DeWitt apparently went behind the counter, punched the clerk repeatedly in the face and rib cage area. DeWitt then threw candy and mint across the store, at which point the worker threw a box sex toy at DeWitt as he began to leave the premises. And in true Oklahoma fashion, DeWitt's supervisor, who did show up to Christie's Toy Box, said that he told DeWitt to take a couple days off and let things calm down. DeWitt has been pulled over on his way out for speeding and was issued a warning by a state trooper before they heard the alert about the dust up at the dildo shop before arresting DeWitt on a misdemeanor simple assault. Ron, I have a question for you. What?
Yes. Well, I think you need to really read the quote that his boss said. He said, I have called him and I talked to him briefly. I said, "Hey, why don't you take a few days?" And he's been suspended with pay. But hey, sure, you beat your girlfriend in public and threatened an employee. Take a few days. Clear your head.
Take a few days. Do it. Come on.
At a valid point, batteries in this economy in 2023, why are these not automatically rechargeable through a USB? Would be my question.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. In 2023, why should somebody have shitty home internet like you do, Ron?
It's the people. It's the good folks at Xfinity. Can't give me good.
I swear to God, Ron.
Wi-Fi.
Ron, back when I had a 56K dial-up modem, I was masturbating at better pornography than your camera is currently giving me internet-wise. I mean, literally, the buffering and pixelization. You're going to go back, look at this, and be embarrassed, humbled, if you would. Humbled.
Probably.
Probably. What's sad to say is that you are working off the same internet right now that Bill Cosby enjoyed while he was having females in his home waiting for the pills to dissolve in their drinks. Because let's face it, and something that's definitely going to come up during our presidential debate is that you live in the same town as Bill Cosby did.
All right. Well, I should probably go and reboot my systems here, see if I can get things fixed. Because we're not quite done tonight.
We're not done.
9:30, we have After Dark. It is exclusive content for our Patreon subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, we do humbly ask that you go to ronandbrianpodcast.com, click in the upper right-hand side, and you will see where you can join us. I mean, at the $5 level, you get the audio recording after the fact. But for just $10 a month, you can join us live at 9:30 and watch it. And then once a month for our pajama party, you can come join us on the air. Sometimes, people don't send out the links for After Dark. We will work on that too. While I'm
Talk to
rebooting,
Matt.
maybe
Talk to Matt.
other people, maybe Matt can get things going. So Brian, I apologize for my internet. I will do what I can to fix it prior to After Dark. Anything else this week before we wrap up?
Be better, Ron. Be better. Be better with your internet. Be better as a human being.
All right, I will do my best. Thank you all for joining us, everybody. Patreon folks, we'll see you in a half hour. Everybody else, we'll catch you next week.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com. See you again